I will welcome you all again to the first ever virtual PW Advent Gathering. And I think I know everybody, but I'm Addison Hare, and I'm so glad you found your way through the hoops of the technology to this particular breakout session. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to learn a lot about healthy eating, and we are going to learn how to make something delicious for ourselves and our families to enjoy. And you may even want to package it up and share with others. And y'all heard Anne's little housekeeping stuff, but please make sure you're muted and your phones are off. And if you do have questions, it'd be great to just jot it down. We can ask it at the end, or if I can help figure out how to use this chat feature, we can use that as well. So it is my pleasure now to introduce the celebrity who will be educating us today from her very special home kitchen, which looks so inviting from Zoom, Cheryl. It just looks great. Anyway, Cheryl Hoover is obviously a great cook. She is certified in plant-based nutrition. She's published. She is co-author of this wonderful book, Healthy Living for a Sharper Mind. And as a registered pharmacist, Cheryl coined the phrase pharmacy in your kitchen. She believes it and she lives it. She is the wife of Hunter Hoover, the mother of Grace and Morgan, who is now married. So Cheryl is also a mother-in-law. Cheryl's a very talented singer and performer. She's got a beautiful voice that she shares in praise bands. And she's also a former member of First Presbyterian Church, where she was a Sunday school teacher and a youth advisor. I have been blessed to call her a friend for 25 years, and what I most admire about Cheryl is how she has used one of the scariest things in her life for good. After a cancer diagnosis and a courageous and successful battle to beat it, Cheryl is now helping so many others through her vast knowledge, her personal experience, her creativity, her love, and her overflowing compassion. So we are so fortunate to have you with us, Cheryl, and without further delay, I'll just turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Addison. I'm so happy to see so many familiar faces. It makes me so happy, and my heart's just about to burst that y'all decided you wanted to spend the next 30 minutes with me. Thank you for a wonderful introduction, Addison. And I just want to expand a little bit on that because this pharmacy in your kitchen concept is really kind of unique in a way to me, in that I am a pharmacist. And as Addison said, I was diagnosed with cancer about 5 years ago, and that's when I really started to look at food as an opportunity to really nourish my body. And so now I'm, instead of really a pill for every ill, I've really kind of turned 180 degrees in the other direction, and I really want to encourage people to use food as medicine and not automatically go to the pills in the drugstores to fix the symptoms or treat the disease or really prevent the disease in a lot of cases. So today, in the brief amount of time that we have, because I told Addison I could talk forever on this subject. I mean, and Flo, you know this, but I'm so passionate about this. And I do want to bring God into that just a little bit because I can with you guys. But I just feel like God has been preparing me to do exactly this all my life. I look back at all the different things that I did. I first went to school for hotel restaurant management because I wanted to be a cook, and my father would not send me to culinary school. And so he sent me to college so that I could learn how to run a restaurant. And then I switched to pharmacy, and then I had the cancer diagnosis, and then I got certified in plant-based nutrition, and eventually started Pharmacy in Your Kitchen, and now have a book with Hayes Woolen. And I just look back at that convoluted path, and now it all makes sense to me. And each of those experiences equipped me in a very unique way to be able to tell my story passionately. And so that's why I'm here with you, and that's why I'm passionate about what I'm going to say. So in the brief amount of time that we had, my goal today, honestly, is just to encourage you to nourish your body and not just feed it. And in order to do that, I have to explain kind of my Pharmacy in Your Kitchen philosophy. The Pharmacy in Your Kitchen philosophy is, again, bringing God back into it. I truly believe that we were perfectly designed, and that the food that we're supposed to eat was also perfectly designed. And that food was designed to nourish us so that our body could do things like heal itself, a broken bone, a wound, things like that. Our bodies are designed to try to heal and fix themselves, but if you don't feed our bodies correctly and they're not properly fueled and not properly nourished, then they can't do what they were designed to do. So in a nutshell, basically, I want people to eat real food. I don't want people to eat processed food or man-made foods. Stay away from as many chemicals as possible. Just really get back to, as I said, what God designed for us to eat. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Stay away from the inside aisles because everything in there is preserved, man-made, genetically modified, all those things, which our body is trying to use that stuff for fuel, but it can't. It really can't do it well, and that's when we become sick. Our bodies are under so much stress, and that's one of the stresses our bodies are under, is trying to use things that it was not designed to use as food. And that's when we begin to suffer from all the chronic diseases that we currently suffer from in this country. So really, the book that we wrote is actually really kind of focuses on mental, fueling your brain to keep you from developing dementia and Alzheimer's disease. But if you're eating for good brain health, you're eating good cardiovascularly, you're eating to prevent diabetes and obesity and cancer and all those other things that we suffer from. So there's nothing really magical in the book that's just specifically about brain health. And there's also really nothing magical about anything that we're going to talk about today. I just want you to go home with understanding the philosophy and that it's an opportunity to nourish your body with the food choices that you make. And we should be taking advantage of that opportunity every day, multiple times a day, to do just that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of assemble what I call a rainbow salad, because I have one of these almost every day, but it's not the same salad every day. And it's just a really good example of one of the things another thing that I want you to walk away with. It's eat as many different colors as possible. All those different plant colors, those natural plant colors, offer different phytonutrients for your body, and they need all of them. But again, like don't make the same salad every day. Don't eat the same colored fruits and vegetables every day. Mix it up. Get those colors from a great variety, which is another reason why we should be eating seasonally and locally. It helps us rotate the things in our diet that we need. So this is going to be a little hard for me I'm going to try and let you guys see this. Basically, I just started out, okay, good, we can do that. This is just a plate of arugula. I just happen to have that. And in general, the darker the green, the more nutritious it is. So in other words, arugula is going to be more nutritious for you than iceberg lettuce. So in general, that's a kind of a good way to think about it. The darker, the better. So that's going to be our basic bed. And then I try to eat something, the cruciferous family every day. It's very good with cancer fighting, really high in fiber, full of nutrients. And this is just some red cabbage that I have, and I'll chop that up and put that on there. And again, it's not this particular thing. Brussels sprouts are in the cruciferous family. Another colored cabbage would be good as well. And the reason I can eat a salad every day and not be hungry is because, wait till you see this salad that I'm going to build. It's crazy. But one of the things I put on it is I put a good healthy grain on it, and I put good healthy fats and make sure that there's protein in the salad. So this is just leftover black rice. It's also called forbidden rice, but it's higher in fiber. And I don't know if you guys can hear it, but they're blowing the leaves out right outside the kitchen window. So if you hear that crazy sound, that's just what that is. So this is black rice, and this is just leftover from last night. I do that a lot. I kind of like recreate things the next day and put them on a salad, even sometimes which I have an example of that today. I even add some roasted vegetables to the salad, so raw and cooked together on the salad, which is totally fine. This is just some eggplant that I marinated in some miso and some honey and some sesame seeds. So I'm going to put the roasted eggplant on top of the salad. And more cruciferous, this is just cabbage and some orange carrots. So we got orange and purple and green so far. A little bit of cucumber just for some crunch. And I also try to eat and drink something fermented every day. This is just fermented beets, which I happen to have. You could use sauerkraut or some tempeh, anything like that. The reason that I like to eat or drink something fermented, actually, here's my kombucha that I drink every day, which is fermented tea. The reason I do that is that we have not taken very good care of our gut health in this country because we don't eat food that's alive and that we eat food that's processed. So all the normal bacteria that should be in our guts are not there, which is why most people now take a probiotic, or even some people are taking a prebiotic, which actually feeds the probiotic. But if you start to introduce something fermented into your diet, an easy way to do this is just sprinkle a couple tablespoons of something that's fermented on your salad. So this today, it's fermented beets, which are gorgeous in color. That beautiful color that the beets and the purple cabbage have is also that same color that is in acai, which is the big hit. You know, everybody wants an acai bowl. So that phytonutrient is the same. I kind of love tomatoes, even though they're not in season. So I sprinkle a couple of those on there as well. And another thing that I try to do is, this is actually just some sprouts. These are broccoli sprouts, but you could do alfalfa sprouts or really anything. There's a great variety, clover sprouts in the store. And anything that's sprouted is more bioavailable to your body. You can get sprouted grains, which are really good to have. You don't have to have them every time, but they're a little more expensive, but it's a nice treat. Sometimes I get sprouted quinoa or some sprouted rice, which is nice. But another good way is just the sprouts to add to your salad. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit more color with some radishes, some fresh radishes. And healthy fats. You've got to eat. I am not afraid of carbohydrates, and I am not afraid of fats as long as they're real whole food. So I'm a big fan of walnuts. They're very good for cancer fighting, and they're very good for your brain health as well. And I usually just grab a couple of handfuls of walnuts. It's my favorite nut to use. Any nut would be fine. Try and stay away from peanuts, because peanuts actually really aren't a nut, and they are pretty inflammatory and not nearly as nutritious as some of the other nuts. Then I'm just gonna put some scallions on there. I actually try to eat scallions and garlic every day as well. Very, very good for you. Again, cancer fighting, has all the good, yummy things that you need. And huge fan of healthy fats. Again, this is a half of an avocado. So I eat a lot of avocado, not every day, but I eat a lot of it. And sometimes I only eat like a third of an avocado, depending on how big it is, but it's just adds a creaminess and just a wonderful kind of satisfaction in your mouth that fat does. And so far, I have, as far as my protein, I just have the walnuts on there. I mean, there's a little bit of protein in all of this, but really like heavy duty protein, the walnuts. So another really simple thing that I do is, I'll just show you this brand that I love. This is made in North Carolina. This is a hummus that I absolutely love. It comes in a couple different flavors. It's called Roots, and it's just really delicious. There isn't anything in it that's questionable, and I make salad dressings out of it. So this as the base, and just kind of flavor it and add some water. and it's delicious. But today I'm just going to put a healthy scoop of it right on top of my salad because I want a little more protein. And this salad is a great example of how you can not have meat in a meal or really any animal protein at all, and you won't even miss it. And that's kind of another way that you can think about it. Like, just make more room on your plate for the plants, and in order to do that, you have to decrease the animal protein. And making a salad like this is just easy to do. And I'm going to show it to you, just because, like, now this is going to take me a while to eat, which is actually really exciting news, because you get to eat a lot of food when you eat a lot of plants. And you deserve to take the time to do that, to nourish your body and eat well. And one more thing, if I were going to add a dressing on, sometimes I would just add maybe flavored vinegars or flavored oil and vinegars. But I want to encourage you to read the labels on all your food. And if you can't pronounce it and you know God didn't make it, you should probably try not to use it and use something healthier. And Trader Joe's has a great line of dressings that are completely wonderful. Everything in them is 100% on board with. This particular one has almond butter, turmeric, which is a wonderful spice that I love to use as much as possible because it's so beneficial for your health. And it's got lemon, ginger, turmeric, black pepper. It's absolutely delicious. And they have several of those. But just like, I want you to read the labels, and I want you to just run it through a new filter in your mind, where you just think, can I do better than that? This may be the dressing that I always use, but can I do better than that? This is kind of what I used to buy for a snack, but maybe I can do better than that. Although this talk is not about weight at all, because it's really just totally about nourishing your body. But I heard the other day that in COVID, if people gained weight, they gained an average of 12.5 pounds during quarantine. And that typically during the holidays, people gain between 5 and 10 pounds. So I feel like, because we're talking the first week of Advent, I feel like this is such a great, like, let's not wait till the first of the year to make some changes. Let's start right now, because you can take a few little steps that keep you pointed in the direction that you really need to be going, and just away from maybe some habits that aren't so healthy. And the other thing I wanted to do along those same lines, what I kind of do, I really try and stock my pantry and my refrigerator with things that I know are going to nourish my body. I try not to put things in there that are going to tempt me and not to eat well. And so I put like little baggies of things in the refrigerator so that when I'm hungry, I'm not going to get hangry and make a bad decision. So it's available for me quick and easy. And the other thing that I just wanted to say before we switch to the granola, because I'm going to show you that too, is this salad, as I said, doesn't have any animal protein on it at all. And another step that you might be able to take, even if you're a big meat eater or your whole family eats a lot of animal protein, is to try and just do like one meal a week with no animal protein. Or maybe meatless Mondays, where everything on Mondays there's no animal protein. Just try to step in that direction, and your body's probably it's gonna like it, and you're probably gonna want to take another step. So, okay, and here comes the blowers. They're really here now. Okay. All right. There's they're gonna get the recipe right, Addison, for this granola. Okay, yeah. So in about 10 seconds, it won't be so loud. They're right on my porch blowing. But I just want to say, again, there isn't really anything specifically magical about this recipe, except that it's a homemade granola. All of the ingredients are nutritious. The spices are anti-inflammatory and full of antioxidants, and there isn't anything questionable in it. It tastes delicious. It makes your kitchen smell amazing. I wish you could be in here when I took this out of the oven earlier today. But I'm just going to show you, this is how, if you follow that recipe, this is how a granola looks. And the reason that there is a hole in the middle, and in the recipe I talk about that, it's called I put a donut hole in the middle of it, is it makes quite a large tray. And when you bake it, just to ensure that the inside gets baked as well as the outside, you make a hole and it cooks quite evenly. You let it cool like that, and then when you're done, you can break it up. And it goes quite quickly. I promise. It's delicious, and you can vary anything in there. You don't have to put the coconut in there. If you don't want to use cherries, I'm a huge fan of cherries, again, for breast cancer. They're very, very good for that. But you can use whatever you have. The other day I made it, and I didn't have any cherries, and I used the dried wild blueberries from Trader Joe's, which were amazing. So you just kind of use what you have. If you want to use dried apricots, great. If you want to use cashews instead of walnuts, great. But that's kind of the basic bones, and you can work with it. And it makes a great gift. Because I don't know, I just feel like we're spending so much time at home lately. A nice homemade gift that's healthy and nutritious might be a good option. So that's all I have. And Addison, I think we probably could open it up to questions if we have any.
All right, let me see if I can unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Does anybody have a question? I'll be glad to start. I thank you for inspiring us. Can you tell us, get back to the salad, about how you use hummus to make the salad dressing?
Yeah, I'm probably going to post this on my Instagram. That's a way for you guys to follow me and for me to inspire you is I have a Pharmacy in Your Kitchen Instagram and Facebook, although I think it shows up better on the Instagram. But I'll probably post this recipe soon because I love it so much. But it's basically, you can use like almond milk. You can use a plant-based milk. It could be anything, cashew, walnut, almond, just to loosen it up a bit. Then if you use the original flavor, you flavor it how you like. I mean, sometimes I put Dijon mustard in there. Sometimes I just put some garlic or sriracha in there. I mean, it's so easy because it's such a basic hummus, and you really it has such a great flavor anyway, but you do need to loosen it up. So a little bit of almond milk. If you want to, you can add a little bit of olive oil too, just for a little bit more richness on your tongue. But it's just kind of whatever you have works. Yeah.
Great. So Karen Overby has a question about arsenic. Is that right, Karen?
Yes, just I've been hearing about arsenic levels in rice, and they vary by kind, with brown rice unfortunately having more than white, and where rice is grown affecting that. And I just wondered if you knew more about that or had any thoughts or advice about that.
It's so scary, honestly, not just the rice, but how to be sure what you're buying is the best that you can. And I guess that's one of the reasons why, like, I don't buy anything that's genetically modified. I really even try not to use wheat that's grown in this country. And some of the more ancient grains like farro, quinoa, spelt, barley, things like that, they haven't been altered or modified like the wheat and even the rice seems to be. So yeah, our body can actually take a little bit of arsenic. It's interesting. They're inside the apricot seed, inside the apricot pit. If you crack it open, there's a seed in there. And they actually said that if you eat a few of the seeds every day, that there could be potentially some cancer fighting ability with that, but you have to be careful not to eat too many because it's got like a cyanide, like a more of an arsenic kind of element in there that can be dangerous. So yeah, the other thing, Karen, is I try, getting back to the rice, I try not to eat too much of anything. Like I really rotate it. So in other words, I wouldn't have rice probably more than once or twice a week. I'm eating other things so that if by chance what I'm choosing to eat is in some way not the best thing for me to eat, I'm not putting a tremendous amount of that thing in my body. Does that make sense?
Thank you. That's great. What about the kombucha? Do you have a favorite brand of kombucha?
I do. I personally love, it's called GT's. And I love it because what I've discovered is I prefer kombucha made from black tea, and some of the other tea companies, including the one that's here in town, Lenny Boy, they use green tea. And I just prefer, green tea is wonderful for you, but I drink one of these every day, and I strongly prefer the black. And I also love their flavors. Like this one's got ginger in it. They've got so many varieties. I definitely feel like if you're new to kombucha and you go to Harris Teeter and you just kind of try a different one every week, you'll eventually find a flavor that you like. And it's so, the thing about kombucha, I had to get to this, I make my own sometimes, but I really love theirs. But I do make my own, and I didn't make it for years because it uses white sugar, and I don't use white sugar. I don't eat anything that's processed or anything like that. I do use maple syrup and honey, but I don't eat sugar. But I learned how to make it, and I learned that what happens, the reason it's so low in calories by the time it becomes kombucha, is that the bacteria, while it's fermenting, actually eat all that sugar. And so it comes to you, you start out with sweet tea, and by the time you get it, it goes through 2 fermentation processes if you flavor it. By the time it comes to you, and the reason it's so low in calories is that the sugar's gone. So fun little fact about kombucha.
Great. And how about fish? I know, we want to try to stay away from the beefs and the pork and that kind of stuff, but what about fish? How does that play into plant-based eating?
Yeah. True plant-based, like whole food plant-based people, they wouldn't eat any fish or any animal product at all. I'm not that strict. I really think of what I am trying to promote people to be more like a nutritarian. So instead of saying I can't ever have this, you really are just thinking about what is the most nutritious thing for me to eat. Now, most of the time, that's going to be plants. But I do eat a little bit of fish. And again, getting back to what Karen said, I think most people would say, well, I would say that wild is probably better than farm raised, which is probably true. But some of the wild fish as well, high levels of mercury. And so I get back to that same thing that I said to Karen earlier is I don't eat a lot of fish. I just, there's a company that during COVID I started using it, Catch On Seafood, and they come from the coast and they bring it to Charlotte on Tuesdays. And we do that every once in a while, but not all the time. There is a canned salmon by the brand is called Wild Planet that I trust very much. It is wild and it is a little expensive, but a little goes a long way. And I'll use that. I'll sprinkle that on some salads or put it in some pasta or do something like that. But in general, the farm-raised fish are usually not fed their natural diet. Sometimes their feed has a coloring agent in it to turn the salmon that color that we want to see, which is why they do it. and normally they're swimming around in a lot of their own waste, and in general, it's not ideal. Unfortunately, that's what we're used to, and that's what our taste goes towards. Most people prefer farm raised than wild. But I will say, and this is hard because I don't love sardines either, but the smaller the fish, the less toxins that it would have if it did have any. The larger the fish, the more toxins it eats through the food chain, the more toxins you will have if you eat those larger fish. So the smaller fish are better. If you happen to love sardines and anchovies and like little mackerels and things like that, those are the good fish.
Great. So helpful. Oh my gosh, you know so much. I'm just blown away by your knowledge.
Cheryl, this is Ann Temple. I have a couple of questions for you. I
Sure.
see you have an aga, which I have too. So
We're instant friends, yes.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So the granola that you talked about did you make that in the large roasting pan? It looked like it was in a big,
Yes.
a large.
Yes. Did you use that? Do you have that parchment that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And so my other question, kind of related to that, is other than fresh fruit, for those of us who have a sweet tooth, do you have some recommendations for something to satisfy our sweet sweet teeth that is not too harmful for us?
Great
Yeah.
question.
Just to encourage you, I will say that I used to have a sweet tooth as well. In fact, when I was in high school, I learned how to bake, and I would rather eat 2 pieces of blueberry pie instead of dinner. And so I have been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's a process, really. I mean, the more you back away from the sugar and the sweetness, the more you'll get used to that. And then if you have something really sweet, it'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. But if you are going to have something sweet, I would try not to look to anything that actually has been made with white sugar that's bleached and processed and those kinds of things. Maple syrup and dates, honey. You can get chopped dates. I'm going to get them for you. Hold on.
I don't dare tell her that in between the service and this, I ate a little chocolate with caramel. Huh?
Okay, I heard that. Okay. So this is, I got this at Trader Joe's too. You'd swear I was an endorsement for Trader Joe's, but I do love their products very much. But I got this at Trader Joe's. These are like chopped dates, and they're coated in something that just keeps them from being sticky. And I will do that. I will grab like a handful of that, and maybe some nuts that have been, coated in some candy coated or something like that. You can get those at Trader Joe's too. They also have these date rolls that if I'm really craving something sweet. So, it's really, I would try to just go to natural sweetness instead of nothing artificially sweetened. Absolutely not. And just back away from the white sugars. It's a process though. I mean, it's going to take a while. Your taste buds have changed. Also, your taste buds have been changed because of what we are told to eat and what we eat based on marketing. And when you get back to eating real whole food, it's a process. Again, it's just like getting rid of sugar. But then that fake food, you just don't even want to. It just tastes horrible after you've backed away from it, and you really eat real food. So.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. I'm going to do a little advertising for you because I'm such a fan. I'm going to try to screen share so I can show you all how you can get more information from Cheryl to just continue on your wellness path. Let's see if I can do this. You will see, can you see that? Can you see her
Yeah.
her website, www.pharmacyinyourkitchen.com. I follow her Instagram, and not only is it amazing, beautiful food and recipes, but the pictures that she shares are wonderful too. You'll see on Facebook, there's her Facebook page, and then the email address, Cheryl@pharmacyinyourkitchen.com. And you probably can't see me holding this book up anymore, but I'm crazy about this book. Both what Hayes writes about, the brain health, but all these wonderful recipes too.
And if you buy the book for Christmas as gifts, or anytime really, I am doing signings on my porch. Just contact me and just say, can I run by and get this signed? I would love to see you, and I would love to autograph anything that you would like to give as a gift as well. So that would be great.
And I know you can get it on Amazon, but Cheryl, also the places in town, in addition to the Paper Skyscraper right near you, anybody else in town that's offering it?
Park Road Books, they may not have it stocked exactly, but they'll order it for you. Although I think they might be stocking it now.
Great.
I had a friend that bought 10 there the other day, and so I think maybe that was a special order. I don't know, but yeah. And Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Paper Skyscraper, and Park Road Books.
Oh, Barnes and Noble too. Great. Well, I'll get this. When we send out the recipe, I will send out this little contact page so you can have all that at your fingertips too. So, and just being respectful of your time, I just want to say thank you again so much. And thank you all for joining in virtually.